Stop bombing children! Stop bombing children! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Starmer, you can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
Starmer, you can't hide!
We charge you with genocide! We are all Palestinians! We are all Palestinians! Free! Palestine! Free! Palestine! Ceasefire now! 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 Ceasefire now!
I don't want my bike to come.
This white kite represents the Palestinian girl who wrote a poem about a white kite, but unfortunately she was killed in a bomb strike by Israelis with her family. She lost her life. She was a little girl. So we brought that in solidarity with Palestinians, and this is our first protest we are taking part in. So just to raise our voices, to be part of protests, so we can bring awareness to what's happening, and we can tell Keir Starmer, if he is watching and listening to this, that he's not going to be getting my vote, because I have seen through what he is doing. He's not serving us. He's not listening to us. He's listening to the people with money and power.
We are here to protest against British complicity. We are here to protest against the pretense that the Oslo process can bring peace to the Palestinians. The Oslo process, the so-called peace process, has done nothing for Palestinians. It has been an excuse for Israel to keep colonizing the West Bank. And the British government and the British opposition have been complicit with this scandal.
Here with my sister, my niece. It's her first rally here, and we've come out.
I've been to a few, but this is the first one I've brought her out to because it's quite local and nearby. But we're here to advocate for the Palestinians who are obviously being massacred and being silenced. And while we've got the voice to speak up for them, we're going to keep continuing to do so.
And we won't be voting for Keir Starmer. We're going to make sure our family, friends, everybody in Camden, that they normally rely on the vote of the Bangladeshi community. We'll spread the word. Always voted Labour, but that's going to change.
And our dad was an avid Labour supporter, but he'd be turning in his grave, to be honest, seeing how Labour are not asking for a ceasefire at the very minimum.
Absolutely. So that's going to change, and that's a big change for our households. And we'll spread the word and share that.
Stop bombing children! Stop bombing children! Stop bombing children!
I do celebrate Christmas and I celebrate New Year every single year with my Muslim family. We love Christmas, I love New Year's. And this year most certainly felt very different. Christmas Day, I don't know, my first thought was of the Palestinians and the fact that they're being starved out and we're about to have a nice meal. That's the first thought that came to my head. And New Year's Eve, the clock struck 12 and I was thinking about them. Like, what are they going through? And it definitely felt different this year. I mean, how couldn't it? Like, if it's like a conscious thought in your head, most certainly. I felt guilty, actually. I felt guilty on Christmas Day, having a bunch of food in front of me and they're starving. But it's not going to last. We'll break it. It has to. It has to break. So yeah, that's how I feel about Christmas and New Year this year, definitely.
What about you?
Yeah, well, I didn't have a great Christmas, but I don't know. I just find it hard to celebrate anything if there's something like this going on. It just doesn't feel right when people are in clear suffering, especially children, and it's just, I don't know, anybody who's got any sense of humanity should feel this way.
We are right now visiting UK, and we were just passing by, and then we realized that this manifestation happening, and we also support this cause for cease the fire in Gaza. And I think it's important for every city in the world to make these manifestations, because we need to embrace the peace cause.
We have a responsibility. I was told something quite sobering yesterday, and that was that recently Mustafa Barghouti, one of the leaders of the Palestinian people, had said that in this worldwide movement of solidarity with the Palestinians, no movement is more important than the one we have built in Britain. It is here that the genocide, the political support for the genocide, can and must be broken. And we have no doubt that a genocide is what is happening. We can see it in the dead babies in their incubators. We can see it in the children being dragged out of the rubble of their homes. We can see it in the Palestinians being tortured to death on the West Bank. And we can hear it from the mouths of the Israeli politicians. The one who said it would be fine if there's only 100,000 Palestinians in Gaza rather than 2 million. And we can see it in the devastation which is making Gaza unlivable in the foreseeable future. This is a genocide by murder and ethnic cleansing, and we have to call it that. And let me salute the South African government for calling it out and taking Israel to the International Court of Justice. Now, some people say that we, British government and the American government, are ignoring the genocide, are permitting it. That is too passive. Our government is arming the genocide. It is politically supporting the genocide. It is diplomatically covering the genocide. And what goes for the government goes for the people that work in that building behind us, Keir Starmer and Tulip Siddiq. And on the subject of diplomacy, can I just ask, how much longer do we have to put up with Zippy Hotel-Bailey living and working in Britain, the racist Israeli ambassador who goes on television and says from the river to the sea, Palestine must be Israel, who says that every second home in Gaza is a target for the Israeli armed forces? We need to run this racist out of town and out of our country. And brothers and sisters, bad as it is, it could get worse. Our rulers are flinging flinging fire into the Middle East. The war could expand into Lebanon at any moment. Israel is conducting assaults on Beirut, and an Israeli minister has said publicly we should do to Beirut what we are doing to Gaza. In the Red Sea, the British and American fleets are already firing at the Houthis, at the people in Yemen, which has suffered enough. This is the policy of imperialism, and if this war widens, it is widening because of the failure to stop what Israel is doing in Gaza, and the blood of this war will be on the hands of our government and the American government as well. This is a policy that has destroyed Iraq, it has destroyed Syria, it has destroyed Libya, it has destroyed Yemen, and imperialism is the enemy, and we have to bring it to an end. And imperialism is supported by the likes of Keir Starmer. We need to say to him and to Tulip Siddiq, no ceasefire, no vote. We cannot and will not support a Labour leader that is betraying all the best values of the Labour movement in this country. He was talking this week about Project Hope, that he stands for hope. There is no hope in genocide. Project Hope is this movement standing for peace and for justice. And we have to keep this movement at boiling point. We cannot let Mustafa Barghouti down. Next Saturday is a global day of action for Palestine. Our demonstration, because the eyes of the world will be on London, must be the biggest we have ever had. We have to show that Britain stands with Palestine, that we keep on standing with Palestine, and if people say it is a hate march, it is right to hate injustice, it is right to hate oppression, it is right to hate genocide and imperialism. We should embrace that hatred because it represents love of humanity. So let's turn out next Saturday as never before and keep marching for ceasefire now, free Palestine, stop the wars. Thank you.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
On the issue of does protest change things, there are a lot of arguments. I mean, the Palestinians themselves have said how important it is to them and their morale that they see protests around the world, massive protests around the world. But the other thing is that the protests, although, you know, we can talk about street demonstrations on their own don't achieve anything, those street demonstrations encourage people to take further action. So out of that movement has grown the Workers for Palestine movement, which is blocking arms factories, the Elbit arms factories. There are leaflets going into the arms factories in this country encouraging workers to not allow their arms to be sent to Israel. We know from the anti-apartheid movement and from Chile that workers around the world did move to stop sales to South Africa, stop sales to Chile. And that is already happening around Palestine in several countries around the world. So it all builds up and in support. So protest alone may be seen as, you know, a march from A to B, doesn't achieve a lot. But when you get up to 1 million people on the streets, that creates a pressure, encourages people to take further action. So the protest does work, and it needs to be built, and it needs to be built on in terms of further process.
I think Starmer has alienated a lot of people, a lot of groups too. I find it really strange that someone who will possibly be the next leader of this country won't support genocide, won't support the ceasefire and an end to the genocide. I think any leader, wherever they are in the world, you know, should be able to have some humanity when it comes to what's going on in Gaza. it feels unreal, it feels unbelievable that this can go on in this day and age. We're in 2024. It's as if we've taken a step back and we've gone back to, you know, past world wars. But today today we're more educated, we have more awareness, we have sensitivities. And I just find it difficult to live with the idea that the Labour Party or any party might support what's going on, the genocide in Gaza.
I'm a Labour supporter from the age of about 13. My nan used to take me on marches. So I fully understand what the Labour Party stands for, and I don't believe Keir Starmer stands for what my part of the Labour Party might stand for.
Keir Starmer says that if people don't know what he stands for, they haven't been paying attention. What do you think, Keir Starmer?
I think the fact that he doesn't know what he thinks that people don't know what they stand for, what he stands for, shows that he himself isn't being very clear. And it took him a long time, a very long time, to be clear about whether you should shut water off and electricity off to the people in Gaza. And the fact that it took him so long to be clear on something so basic as that is an absolutely appalling thing. And I'm disgusted by it.
Zionist state of Israel, shame, shame! You don't speak in the Jewish name!
The Zionist state of Israel